The spectacular downfall of so many TV personalities. It's particularly shocking because, as Howie just said, these are people that viewers essentially invite into their homes every single day. So what can TV networks and the nation learn from all this? Let me go to my spearmint-flavored party panel tonight from the Greg Gutfeld show, where she operates as a world-class correspondent. Kat Timpf, back in action, along with columnist at the Daily Beast and The Week. One of our favorite writers and producers, Anthony Fisher, is here, and former New York Congresswoman and member of the Trump for President Advisory Board, Nan Hayworth, is back. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
So it's interesting here, as you point out with Matt Lauer and NBC News, no denial, no due process, no suspension, just done. Is this how business is?
Well, I mean, Matt Lauer, you could say, is probably the biggest of these particular media figures to fall outside of the Fox News realm.
Yeah.
So, like Charlie Rose, you know, he had his big PBS fiefdom. He was on 60 Minutes for a bit, but I don't think he was really propping up the CBS morning show. Matt Lauer, like Howie said, was the Today Show for 21
synonymous
years.
with coffee. I mean, it's part of how many people start their day. And, you know, to speak to the aspect of how lucrative it is. I mean, this is the basis for the rest of the network and gives them so much of their operating budget for, you know, sports and entertainment and everything else. And those are huge shoulders to rest upon that are now gone.
And I think you need to consider the circumstances as well. Matt Lauer has a bit of a reputation for being difficult, for being a bit of a backstabber. He's expensive as hell.
Do you think this is a way for NBC News to get rid of him so they don't have to renegotiate the contract, which is up next year?
I wouldn't have any. I'm not questioning the veracity of these accusations.
Yeah.
They're serious enough that he hasn't. He's known about it for almost a day. He hasn't issued a denial or any statement at all.
Yep.
But he's expensive and he's difficult, and it's easier to just get rid of him.
Interesting. So, you know, to bring this back, and I guess the question we're always struggling with is, what is the appropriate response? Right. And, you know, so many people, you know, men in particular, a vast majority, they're the ones who've almost felt like this is a perk for a powerful job, is being able to sort of take advantage with people in vulnerable positions. Yeah. But Mike Pence was swatted down for saying that he doesn't go to dinner alone with women.
Kennedy, couldn't agree more. And that story has, the disdain that he encountered has definitely played on my mind through these days of this avalanche of accusations, including, of course, many political figures, because people ridiculed the vice president for that policy. But quite honestly, we are entering a new era of caution, of scrutiny, of wariness per force. Yeah. And it goes in both directions. It's, you know, anybody who has a position of power, whether it be a woman or a man, could potentially be accused of behavior that they either, you know,
yeah, but I think there are a lot of people, old school people, who are like, this is just what you do. You know, it's like if there's someone who has a hotel across the hall when you're at the Olympics, whatever the case may be, then I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, she's the cookie in my jar.
Yeah, that's not what you do, though. No. And I'm not really sad about any of this at all. It's kind of just like, bye all of you guys, and don't trip on your pants that are around your ankles on the way out, is how I feel, because it's making the workplace a safer place for women who may have not felt safe before.
And men too.
And men too, by these powerful people who are going to use their power to abuse people who don't have any, and people are too worried to say something because no one will believe them, and we're moving away from that. Yeah. And I think that that's great.
And the behavior is sort of the guiding force. That's the cohesive factor. But meantime, there are some big new developments in the crazy Alabama Senate race. One of Roy Moore's accusers writing an open letter to the controversial Republican candidate after he questioned her motives for claiming she was sexually assaulted as a teenager. In the letter, Lee Korfman says in part, "What you did to me when I was 14 years old should be revolting to every person of good morals. But now you are attacking my honesty and integrity. Where does your immorality end?" As you know, Korfman is one of a number of women claiming Moore pursued them sexually when they were teens, and he was either in his late 20s or 30s. Moore, of course, denies everything, and today there are reports that despite the accusations, former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon will campaign with Moore next week, according to CNN. So will Moore pull this election off despite the barrage of allegations against him? Anthony, I'm not surprised that Steve Bannon is going to Alabama because he gets to fight the swamp and the media at the same time and sort of ignore the grossest part of the accusations.
So Steve Bannon, let's remember, is the mastermind of he's the person who paraded all of Bill Clinton's most famous accusers out at a press conference and then right in the front row before a presidential debate.
Yeah,
so he
I remember
cared
it well.
about sexual assault and sexual misconduct 13 months ago, but now he's campaigning for Roy Moore so that he can own the libs. And it doesn't surprise me, but it is interesting that Steve Bannon, who really is a very rich guy from the West Coast, is now going to be campaigning in the heartland because it's all, it's
well, and this was the candidate that he backed in the primary runoff. Okay, but here's the thing that kind of bums me out about Roy Moore. We take John Conyers' accusers at face value. We take this Matt Lauer accuser at face value. The women that Al Franken groped, you know, we don't ask for due process. Why are Roy Moore's accusers somehow not believable? Is it just because the Republicans don't want to lose a Senate seat?
It should not be that they are believable because, or not believable.
But people who will take Matt Lauer's story at face value are the ones who attack me on Twitter for saying that Roy Moore is a gross, disgusting, molesting sexual predator with a long established pattern of being a total creep.
I have to say that for my own part, I have stated repeatedly that every claim has to be considered fully from both sides of the accusation. Roy Moore is adamant.
What about John Conyers?
Denials.
Should we wait and
I think we have to see, you know, some, well, no, because it's.
What more do you want, though? With all respect, what more do you want? There's four women who came out on the record, four of them, with their first and last names, putting their reputations on the line. And then those stories were backed up by more than 30 corroborating sources interviewed. And then another woman came out. I don't know what more you need. I feel like we're in this position in society right now where if someone comes forward with a very, very credible, very well backed up story of child molestation, the first question some people are going to ask, too many people are going to ask is, okay, well, is the guy that molested her a Republican or a Democrat?
No,
and
no.
And then they become political pawns. And you pointed out, you wrote a great piece for National Review pointing out that very same thing because it is unacceptable. If something is unacceptable when the opposition party is doing it, it doesn't make it okay for Roy Moore. Or the implication that somehow this victim shaming, I don't like it when Nancy Pelosi does it.
No.
I don't like it when Roy Moore supporters do.
I couldn't agree more. And but that illustrates what I was going to say is that illustrates the extraordinary challenge that we face at the very least going forward, because I mean there really is you know, a tremendous risk on both sides of any transaction.
But Roy Moore is getting his due process. Roy Moore is getting his. It's all being vetted, and the thing is, it's only that by virtue of the businesses he's in politics, is that he can't be kicked off the ballot right now. If he was in any other business, he'd be gone by now.
He'd be fired. The sponsors would pull out.
There are many reasons why I find Roy Moore unsavory, and certainly all these accusations.
Child molester, not unsavory.
But the people who come forward
is a terrible thing.
They're not women who work for James O'Keefe. These are people who've, you know, like many other victims of sexual abuse, Lee Korfman kept it inside, aside from the family members and friends that she told, for decades to protect her family. She didn't vote for Hillary Clinton.
She voted for Trump, so if it's a political hit job, why should hit job herself?
In fairness, I'm not, but she says she voted for Trump. We had a secret ballot. You don't know. I'm not in any way questioning.
I can't believe that anyone would rather believe a conspiracy theory than multiple women who have nothing to gain from any of this.
I'm not believing a conspiracy theory at all. I'm merely pointing out the challenge that we have, because it is, one can make claims.
4 women, more than 30 corroborating
What about him getting kicked out of a mall for being a creep?
I'm not.
I mean, that you need. The pattern of abuse is so clear.
I'm not defending Roy Moore. I'm not at all. I am not defending Roy Moore. All I am saying is that it can be very, very. And now we do have cases in which, obviously, Al Franken, we had a photograph, but certainly he says, with regard to other women who have come forward and said, he made me deeply uncomfortable, he groped me, you know, he
Would
has
it be better for the Republican Party if he lost? If Roy Moore lost. If Roy Moore was in the Senate,
it would be better for the Republican Party if he weren't in the Senate, for sure. I'm not fighting for Roy Moore.
All right, well, we're going to fight to see another day, because the party panel is going to return a little bit later. First up, Republicans in the Senate aiming to push their tax reform bill through by the end of the week. But will there be enough changes to satisfy the House? And will the plan make sense for liberty lovers? I'm going to ask a congressional liberty lover, Congressman Thomas Massie himself, next. All right, more bad news for Uber. Federal prosecutors are now investigating claims that the ride-sharing company deployed an espionage team to steal trade secrets from its rivals. The investigation surfaced in a court hearing between Uber and Alphabet. Yeah, they own Waymo. The company's self-driving car unit, Waymo, sued Uber, claiming a former executive downloaded confidential files before leaving for a self-driving truck company that Uber conveniently later acquired. Now remember, just last week we learned Uber had tried to cover up that hackers had stolen the accounts of 57 million users. That's on top of sexual assault allegations by drivers and in the corporate offices. So is it time for Lyft to start celebrating? And what does this mean for my Uber rating? My 5-star party panel is back. Kat Timpf, Anthony Fisher, and Nan Hayworth. Nan, I will start with you. Corporate espionage has existed as long as corporations have existed.
As long as people have existed.
But it's different in this day and age because technology is so lucrative and things move so quickly that you have to be first to market in order to succeed.
Right. It's crazy, and all I can say is, you know, why would Uber feel qualified to rate me at this point? But look, they're messing with the wrong. I mean, messing with Alphabet. You know, Alphabet is the man. Alphabet is the most powerful. Yeah, exactly. You know, that's, you know, the most powerful information technology company in the world, basically. So Uber just sounds as though their culture is so completely corrupt, or was heretofore, that their new president is just really going to have to make an extraordinary push and be very transparent.
Yeah, she's knee-deep in her waist gaiters with malarkey,
I would say,
all the way up to her hip bones. So should we say Scroober?
Well, I mean, we mentioned Uber being first to the market. They were the ones that really revolutionized, you know,
ride sharing,
and you know, shed no tears for the cab cartels and the medallion system. But yeah, they're a really bad company. They're toxic inside and out. And thankfully, they at least changed the game. And there are other alternatives. I'm not going to endorse any of their competitors, but there are competitors, and it's good that, you know, in some ways, these two Goliaths, Alphabet and Uber, going at each other, have a, you know, them beating up each other has created a little space in the market for other competitors.
There is space in the market, and there has to be, because once your Uber rating goes down, how tough is life, Kat Timpf?
It's really tough. I don't like Uber. They did not like me first. My rating is a 4.2.
What?
I know, it's really bad, which is ridiculous because I am a delight.
Yes, you are.
So I don't really understand. But I can't use them. It's very, very tough because the drivers will see the rating and then cancel. So I have to use these alternatives. So yeah, boo Uber. Now you're espionaging.
That's not right. Scroober, Boober.
Yes.
Bieber.
I'm using cabs.
That's it. Yeah, I can't rate you.
I'm using my feet. I'm getting more steps every day. I'm up to 305,000 steps every day. It's that impressive. All right. Party panel, Nan, Anthony, and Kat, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All sounds tonight. Coming up, the old adage goes, with wisdom comes age or something. Or wisdom comes with age, whatever. But it appears millennials are the ones who realize a third-party system is better politically. Is there any hope for the two-party system, or is it going to go the way of Uber and die slowly? Lawrence Jones joins me next.